Queen is the Find Your Voice show with Coach Vuyanzi. Today, we have a live and in-person interview with Michelle Donald. Michelle Donald is an expat living in Nairobi, Kenya. Dr. Donald is a graduate of Temple University Medical School. Dr. Donald is passionate about developing and implementing clinical programs that merge technology and healthcare delivery systems to improve health outcomes. A trip to Tanzania in 2018 would change the course of her life. In February of 2020, Dr. Donald resigned from Northwell and moved to Salaam, Tanzania to pursue her dream of democratizing healthcare for all. The global pandemic forced her to change course a bit, and after a move to Nairobi, Kenya, and some much-needed downtime, she has resumed her efforts. Get your notebook, get your pen, because oh my goodness, school is in session. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Find Your Voice show. I am so excited because today I'm doing something much different. Do you notice something here? That I have a guest and I'm with her in the room. Yes, we love Zoom. Yes, we respect Zoom. But oh my goodness, when you can be in the room with another person, what a difference it makes. And I'm so happy to be here with Michelle, my newly found friend. I found her in Kenya, but lo and behold, you're going to find out the story of why I found her in Kenya, but we're in New York, but we're going to find each other again in Kenya. Oh my goodness. So the way I like to get started is the same question I ask everyone. Can you share with us a favorite quote or a lyric or anything?
Absolutely.
Of course.
First, hello everyone.
Hey.
Thank you so much for having me.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have a favorite quote, but I am a huge Tony Jones fan. And Tony Jones, she is this woman, she was a life coach, and now she's like, does all this, I call it spiritual trap, like just affirmation music.
Spiritual trap. Yeah. You guys, Google that. I love it.
And look up Tony Jones. She's amazing. But from her, one of my favorite songs is called I See My Thoughts. And in that song, she says, I am the vision board, and I cut and paste others appropriately or as necessary. I might have messed it up, but you get the gist.
Wow. Talk about that. That is, in fact, I want you to say it one more time because it's so powerful. Say it once more.
So it is, I am the vision board, and I cut and paste others appropriately.
Oh my gosh. We could go so many places with that quote, but I'm just going to start off by asking, why choose that particular quote? What does that mean to you?
Well, I think so many people started doing vision boards and have vision boards, and we're kind of used to waking up and looking at the vision board, and that keeps our vision, right in front of us, but they never realize when you're actually living your vision. And I think it's so important that people realize you are the vision board. It is you. It is your life. So for me, I am my vision board. I'm doing exactly what I want to, and I have manifested this life that I'm living. So I am the vision board. I have created this life. I have decided when the vision has gone off course. I know when I am in the vision, I am present in the vision. So for me, it was, that lyric was like, I am my vision board.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is so beautiful because I'm going to go with the flow where I feel here because, as you know, this show is called the Find Your Voice show. Yeah. And I just heard you say, I am my vision board. I am living my vision board. So first, with these two things in mind, what does it mean to you when I say find your voice? What does that mean to Michelle?
So, for me, it is finding out who I am, what moves me, what makes me me. And I think for so many people, me certainly, I had to do it. So, I'll just give you a little background. I was a physician living in New York. I had a great job.
1 second, I just want to say something. Black women leaders, so many times we think we could stop here and she could have been like, well, and I made it. That's it. And there's no story, right? And she doesn't go to Kenya. We're not sitting here. But she saw that even in terms of making it, what the outside world would say, well, you're successful. Why would you need anything else? But the story is just getting started, folks. And I read a little bit about that to you, but please listen. And I hope you have your notebooks because school is in session. Go ahead.
So I was a physician living in New York. I had this great job. Unfortunately, my parents had just passed away. And I remember sitting in my office just like, what am I doing here? Like, why am I doing this? You know, I was living this kind of 9-to-5 life, coming home, going to the gym. And it was like, is this me? Am I who this is? You know? And at work, I was doing great, getting, you know, accolades and, you know, promotions, and ending up in these rooms, looking around the room like, I don't want to be these people. This is not who I am. But more importantly, I had to go on a journey of who am I? I actively sought my voice. I actively had to figure out who I was. And finding my voice for me took many forms. The first time, honestly, when I can realize that I had kind of stepped off the trail was traveling, you know, just traveling. I had gone to Dubai, Thailand, and just realized there's this whole space out there, you know, this whole other place. There are different people, different cultures, different whatever. But when my parents died, my world went gray. Like completely gray, you know. I didn't see anything in color. I had to really like kind of pull myself out of that, pull myself back into the gym. I was walking to the gym and I kept on like passing these women, right, with hula hoops, feathers, and I swear at the time I was so miserable and so unhappy. I was like, who are these bitches? You know, like
say what it is. That's what it is.
You know, I was like, these chicks. But every day on the way to my gym, I would pass these women with hula hoops, right? And finally, on the third time I passed them, I was like, who are these girls? You know, with feathers and hoops and whatever. I went home, Googled hula hooping in Brooklyn. From then on, I went to one hoop class. That hoop spun around me and the world turned back in color.
Okay, let's just, that right there, you guys, I have chills, I have goosebumps, because you just, number one, thank you for even giving us this inside look at Michelle and the core of who you are. And the thing you say about the world shifted, what do you think it was? Is there a way that you can articulate to tell us what it was in that hula hoop situation that made the world shift?
For me, and I would have to kind of, I didn't know at the time what it was, but hooping for me helped me just find like my vibration, find just my core. It allowed me to soften because, you know, as a physician executive, I'm in these rooms, in these boardrooms wearing, you know, navy blue and black. My hair was straight. You know, it was
not this beautiful curly hair being straight. I can't.
Child, listen, my hair was natural, but I was still burning it.
Yeah. And navy blue suits, and you guys see the beautiful color that's going on today. Wow.
So hooping just awakened a side of me, and it's funny because when I first saw this dress, I remember this was the exact print that I had on going to school, going to my first day of college at Hampton University, and when I saw it, I remembered like I was this person, you know, before like this is me. And I mean, there are a lot of things that make me me, but at some point along the way, I had given up this part of me and taken on that part of me. So
okay, so let's surmise where we are with Michelle. A beautiful career, one that many would have said you've made it. However, there's a very, you know, tragic event that happens, or, you know, series of events that brings Michelle to a moment. But even, there's something though that I'm curious about, even before you get to the hula hoops. You said you were sitting in your office and you said, what am I doing here? But was there something that triggered that question when you started questioning?
It's interesting because I was single. I didn't have children. I had always been a traveler, but travel had taken on like a space of its own, And I was like, why am I living this 9 to 5 life? Like, and living that life reminded me of all the things I didn't have. I was like, I come home, there's no one there, blah, blah, blah. And then I actually had to rewrite my story, rewrite the story that I tell myself, and it kind of was like, well, what do I have? I have freedom, I have a little bit of cash, I'm healthy, and I have the ability to do what I love. So why am I living this life right here? Why am I coming in, when I could do whatever, Actually, no one is looking for me. No one, not no one is looking for me, but you know what I'm saying. My parents have passed away. I didn't have anyone to really answer to, and that became a call. Like, I have no one to answer to. I can pick up and move across anywhere. I can do anything. So yeah.
So school is in session, and I want us to come to this point because I want you to hear Michelle saying where she is, where she was, a great career. Something happens, right? We come to this point. But I want you to hear this. As much as Michelle said that everything was gray, you still had this awareness. Number one, the awareness to begin questioning, who am I? So everyone should write down that question if you haven't done so already. If you have that hunch or that inkling that something, that question came up for her, like, who am I? And even thinking about this dress. When Michelle said to us that this was the type of thing she wore going into college, even though it was Hampton, we'll forgive her. Some of you know by now that my daughter graduated from the other HU, Howard University. But going back to our youthful selves, because people may say, oh, immaturity. No, that's freedom. Yeah. There's something about being young that there is freedom with it before we have all these things that we have to comply and maintain and code switch and all of these things. So Michelle even looked at this as saying, wait a minute, look at the colors, look at the vibrance. There's something there that's always in me, but I've lost this. Yes. And then furthermore, the sign of walking past these women who were there with their feathers and hula hoops. Now, she could have gone a different route. I'm thinking that she could have taken another street. Like these bees right here, I'm sick of it. But instead, she went a step further, even though things were gray. So what is my point here? My point here is look for the signs in your life that you are finding your voice. We're still just scraping the surface, but to get to this point, there had been a series of events. Yeah. So now you've begun to find your voice. You're hula hooping. The world shifts. Oh my God, like that thing right there, shifting from gray to color, it shifts. Take us from there. What changed after that?
Well, for one thing, I don't want people to think that this is something that happened overnight. So, yes, the hoop shifted and the world was in color, right? But still, you always have things and choices coming at you, right? And you're like, wow, the color's back, The color's back. Yeah. But things come up, right? And you're like, ooh, that seems more towards gray. Or this is more colorful. So I actually had to, in finding my voice, actively begin to realize, wow, this is what color feels like. Wow. This is what gray feels like. This is what works. So I did a bunch of stuff.
Wait, right there, feeling. Everyone write down feeling. Like we said, school's in session. Y'all know I'm a teacher, right? What did gray feel like versus the world of color?
So, gray feels stifling. It just feels uncomfortable, but it's different for everybody. Like, I remember when I first started traveling, I would get this like tingling in my hands, And so color started to feel like tingling in my hands,
Wow.
you know?
Wow.
And so for everybody, you have to find that thing of like, this is joy. I'm not faking this. You know, this is not for the gram. This is not for, you know, friends or whatever. And you have to start figuring out what the signs are for you. That means that, like, oh, I'm comfortable here. I like this.
Wow.
And I will say, I think that when we're younger, right, we're getting all these messages. You know, take off the tie-dye, put on a suit, you know, straighten your hair, do this. To get successful, you have to look like this, you have to do this. As we get older, you know, we really get set into that, you know, mold that they're trying to put us in. And I will say, like, my mother passing away was like, was she who she wanted to be? You know, like, did she ever become the person that she wanted to be? You know, and for me, it was like, am I who I want to be? Now, again, this is taking place over years. You know, my mother died in 2013. I did not leave the U.S. until 2020. Yeah, so it took, you know, it took, but the evolution started with figuring out what is my voice, you know, what is my joy, what is happiness, what is unhappy, what are the things that lead me. Okay, right there.
This is what happens when you got the window open in Brooklyn.
Rough ride. No, it's just like, what are the things that lead me to an unhappy path, and what are the things that lead me to a more joyous path? So I had to kind of get used to being my own antenna, you know?
Wow. Such good stuff. So even just the roads. So what brings you joy? Can you tell me about, and by the way, I just want to point out, you said 2013 to 2020. That's 7 years. Yeah. 7 years, a year of completion. So yeah, I'm all about the symbolism and numbers. So I think that's significant that it happened there. Yeah, your evolution was complete in that phase, and then you can move on. So tell me about even beginning to discern what brings me joy. Like, did you do a list? How do you decide?
So actually, hula hooping, right? It kind of began to hone my senses. I got better at, I like this, you know. I did sound baths. I had forest bathing, which is just basically going to the forest and living your best life.
Wow.
People, you know, just I started to notice, like, which friends I actually enjoy, which parts of work I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
Like, what parts of the day do I feel happiest? And you have to start there. You really do start very granular. Like, what foods make me feel better? You know? So it's really fine-tuning your experience. Like, I always tell people, I curate my life. You know, like, I curate my life, you know. If something doesn't feel good or feel right, it's gone. You know, there is nothing that I have to do ever, you know. So
that is living. And oh gosh, okay, I'm trying to calm down because you're telling such good stuff, and you guys, I mean, I'm finding some new stuff out here too while I'm sitting here with Michelle, so it's a matter of keeping my composure. So now I want us now to come to where we are now with Ungrind, and you have begun a movement. I mean, I think there's sub movements within the movement, and yours is definitely significant. And I connect it to finding one's voice. Can you tell us about Ungrind and how you're helping others find their voice?
Absolutely. So I started a YouTube channel and an IG page called The Ungrind, which is really just all about anti-grind culture, finding your joy. It's all about rest, recharging, receiving, and just living your best life, doing what you love. And for me, and I didn't even know I was ungrinding when I was ungrinding, because in 2020, February of 2020, I quit my job and just moved to Tanzania. Now, if you remember, in March of 2020, COVID came. So I had to turn around and come back. However, and that's when really a whole bunch of people started like quitting their job and this whole movement of the Great Resignation, which I'm part of. Definitely, because I did resign. I just wasn't in that movement. I had already started. But for me, mine started probably about 2 years before I actually quit my job. So no, I did not wake up and just be like, I'm out.
You know? Wow. You planned it.
I planned it very well, and it was just a chance trip to Tanzania. I went with this group, East Africa, and I took a picture on the beach and I said, in 2 years, this will be my view. It took about 2.5 years, but yeah, I just realized like there is a time to push back from the table and say, I have enough. I have enough, and I can move on and move about my life accordingly. And so, the plan for me was, getting some real estate, investing, stocks, figuring out my budget, like rejiggering my budget of, and really coming down to a number. Like, how much do I need to live a life that I am comfortable with? And once I had that number, I worked backwards. Because I knew that I had to get this amount of money monthly in to be able to live the life that I want to live. So to all the viewers out there that are like, I can never quit my job, I can never do this, I can never, you absolutely can. You just have to prioritize what has to still be in your life. So just to break it down even more clearly, for me, it was the ability to travel when I wanted to, have a nice place, not an amazing place, but a nice place that I was comfortable with, and to be able to go out to eat, and pay my bills, right? And so my bills was another thing that I had the ability to pull the lever on, right? I was not paying a card payment. I was not buying Gucci bags or things like that, because for me, my Gucci was to be able to not work and go to Kenya or go to Tanzania. That's what mattered to me. And to be clear, I had a Gucci bag, I had a Range Rover, and that was just stuff. Like, at some point you realize that does not bring you the joy that freedom does. So
I hope the thread, if there's a theme throughout your story, is self-awareness. Awareness of self. To me, it's not a terminology that sounds very sexy. I love it because I'm a coach, so I'm like, self-awareness. But self-awareness is so key in your journey. So you've heard about the Ungrind, of course. There, we're gonna make sure we put the link to her YouTube here in the description. So tell us this. I'm a Black woman leader. I'm watching the Find Your Voice show. What message? I know how to code switch. I am wearing the navy blue, blazer. And I'm not putting down navy blue blazers. Is that your favorite? It's totally good. I almost wore a blue blazer today because I really like it. It's shiny. But other than that, if you're feeling disconnected, or if they're feeling disconnected, I don't like to say advice, but what words from your soul would you say to that woman?
I would say, when you wake up in the morning, are you happy? Are you happy with the life that you are living? Take an assessment of what brings you joy. What parts of your life do you want to expand on? Who do you want to be? Are you working for the things that are most important to you? And if you are, how much time do you get to spend with those things? Do you get time to spend with your family? Do you get time to spend with your kids? Do you get time doing the things that you love? Or are you grinding so much for things that you say you love and say you want to spend time with, that you don't even have time to do that? So, for me, joy is the most important living a life that you love. And if you are in a navy blue suit and you are loving life, more power
Absolutely.
to you.
Absolutely.
Stay right where you are.
Yeah.
But if you are, not even unhappy, but just, you know, like that. Waking up like that. I promise you, I am that annoying friend that is like, well, did that bring you joy today? Because it's important. It matters. We only have but so much time in this world, and it's too short to live a meaningless life. You want to live a life that is meaningful, that what you're doing and what you bring out into the world has meaning. It pushes the world along. And if you are just showing up, checking boxes, that is no longer it. That is just not the move.
Wow. So, and a question I should have asked before, but I think it's okay to ask this now because you said the word joy. If we were to leave off with the definition, because now I'm hoping that people have written down some notes. And then finally, do I have joy? What is your definition of joy?
Joy for me is just peace of mind. I feel like I'm in the flow. I feel like when I'm around people that I care about, I am present. There is nothing that is really weighing me down so much that I'm not even experiencing the moment. I have so much joy that every person that I am with, I want to be present there. I want to be in that moment because one, they are people that matter to me. This experience is something that matters to me. I don't want to be thinking about the other stuff because I find joy in this moment, in this life. Like I am in a flow. My vibration is high, and I hope that all the energy that I, send out raises the other people's vibration and awareness around them.
I feel it.
I
totally
hope y'all do too.
I totally feel it. So where can we find you? Where can they find you? And what's next?
So I have a YouTube channel called The Ungrind. I have an IG page called The Ungrind. And what's next for me is just expanding this joy, reaching out to more people, helping more people find it. And that's it. Just continuing to live and love this life.
Wow, you guys, this interview, I love it in person. I wish I could do all the interviews in person. This has been such a joy, pun intended, for me to have sat with you and done this. I am just so much that people can glean from your story, your testimony, and just thank you for sharing what you've shared. Because there's so many of us who look like us who feel like they can't tell their story, who feel like they are trapped. And I think today, this is your permission.